Hello, my name is Harris Bard for Pondlife, Aquatics and Tropical Fish London. I'm an aquarist with over 20 years of experience in keeping fish, and I run Northwest London's biggest and best aquatics centre with my dad. And in today's video, a sort of back to basics, where I'm going to talk to you about why I think keeping aquarium fish has never been easier in 2025. Let's get into it. Hi, Future Harris here. If you want to find out how to be part of our 1,000 subscriber giveaway, where we will be giving away an NT Labs goodie pack alongside some other things that we're throwing in, then be sure to watch towards the end of the video where I'll be explaining how you could be in for a chance to win one of 3 prizes. Let's get back into it. The first reason why I think keeping fish has never been easier than now in 2025 is because we have entered what I think is the digital age of fish keeping. More so than ever, people have access to swathes of information that were previously either unheard of or were so much more difficult to obtain. I know it's a point that is hammered home in various different genres and in various different ways, but we are a generation of people who get to experience having all of the information of the world in the palm of our hands. With the rise of things like YouTube and online forums and even AI intelligence, you can ask questions about fish keeping that previously you would have to rely on maybe 1 or 2 people in your local fish store to have knowledge about. Whereas now you can ask any question about anything and almost instantly get an answer about that specific species kept in a specific way. For example, I have both kept uaru and blood red parrotfish before. We currently have uaru in store, but we don't currently stock blood red parrots. A customer came in looking for tank mates for her blood red parrotfish. And obviously, being a caring and responsible fish store, we don't want to give her false information. She was extremely interested in our tank bred discus, and I knew that parrotfish can be extraordinarily aggressive, particularly to things like discus, that in ways that will probably end up with the discus dying. So when she asked what she could keep with her blood parrots, I honestly didn't know what to suggest. I knew you could keep blood parrots with other blood parrots. You can potentially keep them with other big cichlids, but the extent of my knowledge is very limited on that front. So being able to literally go onto my phone and being able to ask AI in the form of Gemini or ChatGPT, what can a blood parrot be kept with? Can it be kept with an uaru? Can it be kept with an angelfish? And then getting the specific details of, yes, it can be kept with an angelfish, but the angelfish has to be similar size. Straight away, they can be kept with an uaru. We have swathes of easily accessible, usually quite accurate information that previously we simply did not have. And yes, I am aware that this has inadvertently made internet experts out of people, where they feel like they can just Google things, they can just look things up, read about them once or twice online on different websites, and then feel like they are an expert in the subject of keeping the fish, where they actually have no hands-on practicality of keeping them. But I do think that trade-off is minuscule when it means that we can have accurate information on how to best keep tropical fish. Moving away from the obviousness of being able to question AI and Google, the fact that you have YouTube videos and YouTube channels dedicated to fish keeping is something that I wish I had when I was younger. The fact that you can go onto YouTube specifically and find people like George Farmer, a world-leading aquascaper, talking about how to aquascape your aquarium at home. Having things like the Subsurface podcast by NT Labs, where people like Fish Shop Matt and the guys from NT Labs talk to experts in the field about how to keep fish in various different ways. People like MD Fish Tanks, encouraging people to keep fish tanks at home. And then even on a smaller scale, people like us here at Pondlife Aquatics putting out things like the Back to Basics series, where we talk about the basics of keeping fish in the best possible ways. The fact that all of this stuff exists is truly phenomenal. I don't think it really gets harped on enough that The fact that people are making this kind of content was not done even 10 years ago. There may have been 1 or 2 people doing it at the time, but the amount of information that is available by people who've been keeping fish for years and years on how to keep fish in the best ways, I wish I had this growing. Not only that, access to forums, good communities on Facebook. Shout out to people like Ricky and John and Angus who have all come to the shop and run specific communities on Facebook of teaching people how to keep fish in the best ways, keeping rare and exciting plants, sharing those things with people, only making the aquarium hobby bigger and better constantly. And it's because of these online communities that aquarium keeping is easier than it's ever been. There is entire Facebook pages that are dedicated to beginner fish keepers. If you want to keep an aquarium at home from scratch, you can ask the most stupid questions on these Facebook pages, and you will be answered in the most earnest way of people who just want you to have a good time when it comes to keeping fish. And honestly, I cannot thank people enough because it literally means I have a job. Additionally, the rise of online has meant things that are mainstays in the aquarium hobby for information, like things like practical fish keeping, now have an online presence. I remember when I was a kid, the WH Smith down my road would sometimes have practical fish keeping. I'd be lucky if I could go to the Harlequin in Watford to go and get practical fish keeping specifically so that I could read that month's issue. The fact that I can now have practical fish keeping on my laptop, an iPad, my phone, I could probably put it on my TV if I really wanted to, is insane. And it's at a fraction of the price. Practical fish keeping for me is one of the most invaluable resources for information on the direction the aquarium trade is heading, for good, reliable sources of information on specific species, which help me develop my understanding as an expert in keeping fish. The fact that they have people like George Farmer writing for them, Fish Shop Matt, Alex Bell, all of these people who've been keeping fish for years and years that are just sharing their knowledge for literally, I think it's like £4.50 a month, is insane. Information about aquascaping, fish keeping, tech to do with fish keeping has never been easier to access, and there is now no excuse for anyone who wants to get into the aquarium hobby not to be able to go in with their eyes wide open, knowing exactly what to expect and how to combat any issues that may arise. The second section of this is going to be about the development of new and amazing pieces of technology that have made keeping fish easier than it's ever been. The rise of all-in-one fish keeping sets from companies like Fluval, Superfish, Owaza, and Aqua, just to name a few, has meant that keeping fish has genuinely never been easier. When I was younger, if I wanted to set up an aquascape, I would have to get an Arcadia light, maybe a clear seal tank, and then source a filter from wherever I could, probably Eheim, and it would take weeks and weeks to try and figure out exactly which piece I was going to put with which piece, and the information simply was not out there for me to easily set up an aquarium. The fact that now if I went into any aquarium store in the country that's worth its salt, they will have numerous ready-to-go aquarium setups that you could take home and set up yourself with barely any knowledge. Things like the Superfish Scaper set are things I could only dream of as a child. The fact that for under £200, I can get a 90-litre aquarium with a hang-on back filter, a light that can grow true red planting, and even a carpet if you hook it up with CO2, and then be able to deck that out with easily accessible aquascaping soil, easily accessible plants from reputable nurseries across Europe that grow plants in environmentally sound ways that aren't destroying their natural habitats. Insane to me. People do not realize how lucky they are that they can go into an aquarium store and get something like a Superfish Tropical Starter 30. They're $59.99 for a light, heater, filter that has an adjustable flow rate on it, biological booster, dechlorinator, a net, thermometer, everything you could really need except for some gravel and some plants to start up your very first Siamese fighting fish or shrimp or mosquito rasbora tank is insane to me. We've started doing something in store where if someone wants a tropical starter set, we're going to be doing an £100 bundle where we will do the aquarium with plants and gravel, all set up for them with an epiphyte on wood, ready to take home that day. All they need to do is flood it for under £100. That to me is miracle works in terms of technology. Going further into the nitty-gritty of things, there are now commercially available plant lightings like the Fluval Plant 3.0 and now the newly released Fluval Plant 4.0. Fluval, if you see this, please let me test one of those things out. These plants have apps that mean you can adjust every individual light count on the spectrum. So instead of just having to have on or off or blue or off, you can adjust your greens, reds, yellows, blues, across the entire photosynthetic spectrum, specifically for different hours of the day, which means you can replicate different places on Earth based on specific rivers. The fact that these don't cost thousands of pounds, you can have a Fluval Plant 3.0 for under £300 in your home aquarium is insane. The fact that the Fluval Plant 3.0 comes in a nano form that can be kept on nano aquaria is insane to me. The fact that superfish have a scaping light that very readily grows pretty much any plant that you're going to find in the aquascaping world with sufficient fertilization and CO2 injection, obviously, for less than £100 for a meter-long light is baffling. Absolutely baffling. It's things I could have only dreamed of as a child, and it makes me so excited for how much further we're going to go with things like this in the future of the trade. Filtration is another thing. When I was younger, all you had was things like Eheim Classics, which getting them restarted once you turn them off to service them was a pain. You had to restart your siphon sometimes by sucking on it, which would mean you'd get a lungful full of mucky tank water. Numerous times, if they packed in, that was it. You had to buy a new one. The fact that we now have things like the Oazi Biomaster that have a pre-filter on them, that means you don't have to open up your entire aquarium to give those a clean once a week. Insane. The fact that the FX6 series literally has an auto refill pump on them where you can pre-mix RO bottles of water for your discus tanks and then just pump them straight back in once you've done a water change without having to even open up your FX series initially is insane. I feel like I'm kind of rambling a bit on how far things have come in the aquarium trade, but it cannot be stressed enough. People have never had it this easy in keeping aquariums. We've never known so much. We've never had so much access at such a precise price point. Yes, some things feel like they are getting more expensive in the aquarium trade, but I can assure you, for what they are worth and what I would have given to have these things when I was a child, they are worth every single penny, and they make keeping fish so much easier and genuinely so much more fun. Without going into too much of the nitty-gritty of the amount of technology that is available, the fact that people like Superfish do an auto-dosing pump for sub £100 where you can automatically dose your aquariums with specific fertilizer or liquid carbon every single day to a specific amount is absolutely insane. You have auto top-up systems now that are really reliable. Thermometers don't just pack in anymore. Thermostats actually work. Things work better than they ever have and continue to get better. The fact that CO2 injectors are now readily available in fish stores. We have bio CO2 sets that are disposable that cost less than £20 per month to have CO2 injection in your aquarium. The fact that I can get a SodaStream bottle and hook it up to a Denali CO2 injector is insane. I do not feel like people appreciate this enough. Even when I was a kid, If you kept plants in an aquarium, you put them in there to die, or you were keeping Anubias and Java fern. Before George Farmer, we didn't really aquascape in this country. George Farmer, as far as I'm aware, is the first person to talk about fertilizing with phosphates in this country, because before that, we assumed it would cause algae. Now we know that you just need to have plants that can outcompete it, which puts me back to the LED lights. The fact that we can keep plants alive is insane. And good plant lights aren't expensive anymore. They are attached to pretty much every single one of the Superfish brand, Fluval and Aqua. There is really no excuse for people not to be keeping live plants in their aquariums if they are keeping fish that live in places with live plants. It has never been this easy. It is only getting easier. It's amazing. I'm so excited to be part of the trade right now. Having talked about the ways that technology has come along, it really neatly leads me into the space where I can talk about how much more beginner friendly the aquarium trade is. There are now numerous shops like ours where we are selling pre-made, pre-set up aquariums ready for you to take home. There was an aquarium here yesterday that had a CO2 injector on it and a hang-on back filter, which a lovely couple who I didn't ask if I could shout them out on the channel, so I'm not gonna say their names, but thank you so much for coming and buying that. It was a little aquascape that I had done ready for someone to take home so that they could enjoy an aquarium at home without fuss of having to set it up themselves. And so many more places are starting to do that. We here at Pondlife Aquatics in April are going to be running an aquascaping workshop where I will be talking you through personally how to set up your own aquarium at home. You will aquascape an aquarium with me here and then be able to take it home and flood it yourself. And then if buying a pre-made aquarium isn't your thing, the fact that there are reliable dechlorinators and bacterial enhancers like Optimus and Satis by NT Labs, which literally make ammonia safe for fish to breathe, it's voodoo. It is voodoo. The fact these things exist for people to take home and just have in the public domain, to be able to keep plants and fish alive happily and healthily on their first try, is incredible to me. There is a gentleman who came into our shop this weekend and wanted to buy a Superfish Scaper 25 for his kid to have a Siamese fighter in there. He didn't know where to start with aquascaping. So what did he do? We aquascaped that, ready for him to take home. He came and collected it today, ready to take home, flood, and next week, because of products like Optimus and Satis, the tank will be fully cycled. Not to mention the fact that they can now bring in their water and we will happily test it for them. And not to mention the fact that there is at-home, accurate, easy to use water testing that if he really wanted to, he could buy a water test kit from us, take it home and be able to test his water every single day and accurately be able to see his water going through the nitrogen cycle is amazing to me. It was not something that was readily available even when I was a kid. It was much harder to be able to find easy to use, well-priced, at-home drop test kits that would give you accurate enough readings to be able to keep your fish happily and healthily. We had a young man in store today who had come and bought a fish tank 4 months ago, and he is breeding glow light Danios. That would have been unheard of when I was a child, which leads me on to the fact that fish and aquarium plants are getting hardier and hardier, not just because we have more knowledge about which fish are easier to keep, but because the breeding regimes of keeping fish in the tropical fish trade have just gotten better and better and better over the years. The fact that this young man can breed glow light Danio, a species from Asia, typically found in soft pH 6.5 to 7 waters, where he is breeding them in London tap, 8.5 pH, general hardness of upwards of 10 to 19, and he is breeding them, is phenomenal. Fish that have been bred in the aquarium trade for generations are getting more are more hardy and easier to keep. And although you do have some exceptions, like things like guppies that are kind of going backwards because they're so inbred, we have long, thin, white ancestors bred in Essex in our store. We had a gentleman contact me today who is breeding L-cats in London. I just gave offcuts from Alternanthera Riecinae, mini super red, one of the hardest plants you can grow in the aquarium trade, of an offcut to a customer from a tank that I only had tap water in. Keeping hardy fish and hardy plants in easy to set up aquariums has never been easier and is only getting easier. And 2025 is the year to start keeping fish. If you've been thinking about it for ages and you think the maintenance is going to be too much, it has never been easier than now. I do just want to say thank you so much to everyone who subscribed and is participating in our 1,000 subscriber giveaway. The giveaway started on Saturday with our weekly stock update, where people have been asked to comment their favorite tropical fish that they'd like to see here in store at Pondlife Aquatics in Tropical Fish London. You have to be subscribed to the channel. It is a UK-based only competition for the time being. The first place prize is an NT Labs goodie pack, where NT Labs have really kindly gifted us a bottle of Satis, Optimus, and a few fish foods. So thank you so much to NT Labs for gifting us that for an 1,000 subscriber giveaway. Additionally, Pondlife will be giving away a sponge filter for first prize alongside 2 potted plants. And then for joint second and third place, is just so that there's more gifts to give away. We will also be giving away a sponge filter and a single potted plant to 2 additional people who don't get the first prize place of the NT Labs pack. If you haven't entered, then you can enter in this video. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel and you comment your favorite tropical fish that you want to see us stock here at Pondlife Aquatics in Tropical Fish London. If you've already entered, then it's not necessary, but just comment saying you're still here, that you're waiting for the giveaway to happen. We're less than 100 subscribers away from that first 1,000 subscribers, which is insane considering we've been doing this for less than 5 months. I hope you guys are enjoying the channel as much as we're enjoying making things for it. I'll let Past Harris wrap this up now. And all of that ranting and raving leads me on to the final point, is the fact that this trade is growing. It is full of a community of people who are passionate about fish keeping in ways that I am so excited about. The fact that I have young men and women coming into my store and I'm able to have conversation with them about what fish are exciting them, what fish they want to breed, how many aquariums they've got in their homes. And these aren't the uber wealthy and uber elite. These are regular people who are able to enjoy a slice of nature in their home in a way that isn't damaging the environment, in a way that is enriching their lives and making them happy. The fact that I can message Alex Bell, the guy who is editing Practical Fish Keeping, my childhood favorite magazine and still the only magazine I really read today, and he reaches back out. The fact that we're able to apply to be in Practical Fish Keeping magazine, the fact that that aquascape I sold might be in a Practical Fish Keeping magazine article is insane to me. It's amazing. We are in a thriving community of people trying, in my opinion, the best hobby in the entire world, which is only going to get better. It's so exciting to keep an aquarium in 2025. Now, as I wrap up this slightly ranty, slightly insane video that I just wanted to get out there, obviously there is still a degree of self-learning that needs to go into keeping aquariums. But my point is, keeping an aquarium has never been easier. And if you don't know where to start, there are resources and communities and stores like us here at Pondlife Aquatics that are more than happy to help you on your way on this journey of keeping fish. As some of you might have seen on our social media, we are doing in-store aquascapes, which we can either make for you in store that day, or if we don't have the time to do it then, I will stay behind after the store close. I'll aquascape it, get it ready for you to take home and flood yourself. You just have to set the budget for the aquarium in store. We're working between 15 liters and 60 liters right now, just so that moving them isn't a massive deal. You have to be able to carry them yourselves. So If you do live nearby and you want an aquascaped tank to take home with you, then come into store and talk to us about that. We'll be more than happy to help you. We are going to be running a aquascaping workshop in April. The tickets for that will go up on sale in the next 2 to 3 weeks once I figure out a couple more logistics, and then I'll be putting in the orders for the aquariums. There'll only be 6 slots available, and I know some people have expressed some interest in that, so be quick when I announce that they are live on this YouTube channel. If you want to take home any of the aquascapes that we have in store, come in store, ask us. They are all for sale. I'm going to be setting up another aquascape in store in the next week or so that will be ready for a customer to take home. If you have any questions or you just want to come and see what we're doing here, then come and see us in store or reach out to us on info@pondlifeaquatics.co.uk. Our Instagram is @pondlifeaquatics. Our address is NW7 1AS 1 Finchley Nurseries, Pondlife Aquatics, Buttonhole Lane, London, United Kingdom. We've had a few people reach out over the email for information about different things. We had one gentleman who reached out from Minnesota in America, so wow, hi. We're more than happy to help. We're more than happy to encourage people in the aquarium trade to keep fish the way they want to. If you want something that's slightly more educational, then maybe check out the Back to Basics video that will be on the end page. And if you want to see what our latest stock in store is, then I put out a stock video on Sunday and I'll be putting out another one later on this week. But for now, that's everything from me here at Pondlife Aquatics and Tropical Fish London. My name is Harris Bard, and I hope you'll see me again next time for this Pond Life.